Good morning, beautiful souls. It's Teresa Coutman at the Woo Report, and it is September 19th, 2025, and the time is 7:14. Not as early as I would like, but I'm here. Don't want to be the victim, but ADHD is real. And in my situation, I don't take meds because I have other conditions that I don't want to bring this into the mix. Any kind of medications I'm not doing. So trying to keep as clean as possible. Okay, so let me turn this off. This is my thumbnail today, and I'm using the Judgment card. It was interesting. That's our foundational card in today's reading. And this reading is going to take effect at 10 a.m. today. So it's going to be from 10 a.m. today on the 19th to the 20th. Maybe I should write that on this, but I don't want to get too busy. Thumbnails. Okay, I do write it here though. So this is today's reading. But today when I'm talking, we're just cleaning up here. And we're cleaning up, finishing up yesterday's energy. So yesterday's cards were for this time frame. And so we can kind of get a post. Okay, does that, matter? But I can say this energy right here and what was over here too, like yesterday, last night's this, the night before is this. I've been sleeping very, very well and having, dreams, good dreams. I had a dream for the collective that was really interesting. This morning I had like dreams, but not really a full thought or a full connection of things, just stuff going on in there. There was one though that there was an interesting little microbe in my dream, like a new kind of a germ, and you could actually see it moving. I thought that was kind of interesting. Well, but because I had been thinking, you know how you pray over your food in the Bible, you pray over your food, and some people actually can drink poison and be okay. It's really crazy that they have that much faith. But I don't want to tempt God or whatever and think, I can do it like on ego or something. But maybe praying over our skies too. Because with the chemtrails, they want to like ignore that they're there. I don't know, there was one person that Prince listened to that he put out there. Is it Greg Henry or something like that? Greg somebody. But he talked about how it sprayed onto African American communities and makes them more violent. I don't know if that's true or not, but yeah, an uptick in violence in that community has definitely happened, but it seems like it was after the assassination of Martin Luther King Jr. That people started not believing in the government. And that also coincided, there's just so many layers of stuff. It also coincided with the welfare state where welfare became a way to survive. You don't have to get a job, which is probably okay for some people for a temporary amount of time. I don't know how we should, deal with those issues, because I know all communities are facing these kind of issues. Anyway, but I do believe, like, on some of these issues, it reminds me of Nazi Germany, where first they came for the Jews. It's like, well, you can see how they come for blacks, and the same things they did to the black families are doing to our families, white communities, introducing drugs, the fentanyl and those kind of things, and killing so many of our young people, like crack killed their young people. And we have to see some of those parallels and understand some of their angers and even if the population themselves can't see it, because some of these things, like maybe they are being sprayed or trauma, and some of these things, not good nutrition lowers IQ rates. So you might not be able to even understand what's going on, but you feel the anger. Your body knows the trauma. So you have to have a lot of grace and forgiveness and willingness to be open to help. Now, does the community want to accept help? That's a whole nother story. Rehabilitation needs to happen in a lot of communities and a lot of groups. we've seen how they've become radicalized and enemies of the United States of America, and that's like scary to me. So there's a lot of things that need to be happening, and the Hierophant has been showing up a lot, major arcana. In the last couple days, not 3 major arcanas in the 4-card spread like the day of Charlie Kirk's death. There were 3 major arcanas in a 4, and they lay out perfectly to something happening in the collective, right? So the challenge on Charlie Kirk's death was joy, the sun card. And I put out these before 10 o'clock every day. I've done this every day since August something. So that was like a direct hit for me on my intuitive abilities and God speaking through me. And these cards are a way just to confirm what you already know, or to confirm gifts, confirm those kind of things. I don't believe they're necessarily telling a future. They're telling you a fateful future. Or they will if it is something fateful. Not every day is a fateful day, but I do believe we're living in fateful times right now. And it's very important how we respond. And I appreciate strong leadership right now. I really do. And balanced leadership. But something needs to happen to bring these people out of whatever blinders they have on their eyes to think that we can live without the Constitution of the United States of America. And like I keep drumming this up, I know there's problems with the Constitution. It's been bankers and corporations that have muddied our Constitution with the 17th Amendment. And the 13th Amendment has just muddied it more with foreign terrorists could come into your country, have children, and then can anchor themselves here. That's not what that was meant for. And these temporary solutions they've used to make amendments, and that temporary problem you should not make amendments for. They should only cover all the population and not mess with the founding's checks and balances. They were there for a purpose. Our legislature appointing senators was for a purpose, for state power. So anyway, let's get on with this. So this was yesterday's energy. Very, what we see so far, very low, no big white brights, no red grumblies happening. So with that, we can see that I can really feel the difference in my sleep. So my sleep has been better the last 2 days. I've been having dreams, so I like that. And I had a dream about dogs and puppies that was very disturbing. And when I did the interpretation of the dream, I was like in shock. And because I did not know anybody, I did not know the dogs, I did not know the male driver in the convertible, I did not know the female who was helping the dogs. And then, the subsequent part of the dream was the dead puppies on the highway. I did not know any of these people. That is a clue that dream is for the collective, not myself, not my own personal life. So last night I had dreams, and my ex-husband shows up, and before you go to bed, make sure people play themselves. So when somebody is in themselves in my dream, like my ex-husband shows up and there's something like revolving around, issues that I have. So my issues with him, and he actually did show up in my dream last night. So these people are soul tied to you. That's what you have to understand too. Even sexually, you're soul tied to people, that they can come in. You've gave them permission. So now you're having not only to control your own body and your light body, but you could have interference from others. Others wishing you harm. I hope my ex-husband's not wishing me harm. I wish him none. And in fact, one day I do what I call spirit paintings, and one weekend I did all these spirit paintings. I just laid out all the canvases and just did a whole bunch of work of painting messes. But then afterwards, I noticed a lot of things, and then come to find out, like stuff that looked like barbed wire wrapped around people, but a lot of loving scenes too. And I come to find out, probably that night, my ex-husband was in a motorcycle accident, and he laid almost dying for like 3 or 4 hours, wrapped up in a barbed wire fence in some farmland. And I think my painting was showing maybe what was going through his mind and his calling out for help. So I find the woo, I call that the woo, the ether, the things that are going on that we don't understand. Very interesting. That's why I'm calling my show the Woo Report, or Woo Report, is because it's really important to try to understand some of this, and to, if you do have intuitive gifts and abilities, to bring them out in the collective. We don't always honor people. A lot of people who have some of the greatest gifts can't even function in society. Well, like what that psychic name, Baba Vaga. Totally blind, her eyes never did open, just empty sockets from birth. She was highly psychic and had to have people take care of her all her life. A lot of times those people in really bad cultures just don't make it to adulthood. And again, some people are deemed mentally ill. They're not dangerous, but they can project stuff. So they're in a, really vicarious situation. We have lost some of those things in the tradition. I think patriarchy is to blame. I don't think, it was some of it intentional. It was just done for power and money and, that stuff that still happens today in religion. So, but our spiritual nature is something different. Now, I did have a Christian experience, a born-again experience, but I'm not dogmatic. I do believe some of the Bible is the Word of God, but some of it is just a teaching method to show you things, to reveal things to you of how human behavior is. Not necessarily that's God. So, just a little bit of difference in opinion. And I think once saved, always saved. I mean, if Christians don't want to have me in their camp, I have never been rejected like that, though. So, some places would outright reject me. Probably the Catholic Church, because I'm not effing kissing no ring. Will you kiss mine? Do I deserve it? Probably not. Oh, yeah. When I was younger, men may have wanted to kiss my ring for any reason whatsoever. I remember I was like 5 months pregnant and more, I think. I was at bingo. I walked by these guys, and the one guy says, what are you doing? She's pregnant. He's like, yeah, but she's a goddess. I'm like, okay, great. I did kind of feel good. I felt like, oh, someone appreciates me. Anyway. So that was here. Here we are today, and that's about 11 o'clock last night. So last night looked pretty calm. I still haven't figured out what these things are here in the energy fields. There was another one earlier, the day before, that these go off the chart. These are only like a 3-day chart that they put out, and it's from Russia. They're measuring the Schumann resonance. They call it the heartbeat of the earth, and if you hear about grounding and everything else, this is energy going through the earth. And I think it probably affects us. But one of my questions about the woo is it affecting us? Is it a give and take? Do we affect it also? So there's some good questions, I think. And also, do the planetary bodies around us, the moon cycles, the planetary cycles, do they affect it also? So I try to go over some of that. And I listen to Adrienne Elise, and she has like a lot of good material. She's so knowledgeable on the planets and what's happening and how it affects us, and what we need to do for clearing our energy fields and our sovereignty and things like that. And one of them is just basic, you should not sleep around because you take on those people's energies. So I think, all religious texts who talk about being, monogamous and with some partner, because then you have to build real relationship with somebody different than you, maybe thinks differently, but is in that when somebody's different than you, it complements where you're weak usually. So I really do appreciate our differences. And male and female differences are really interestingly important. And also politically. But now we're at a point in time politically where we have to say what's the most important thing. And what I've discovered now, what the most important thing is the Constitution of the United States of America. With all its problems, it's our starting point. It's Western culture so far back from the Magna Carta. And what makes people want to come to our country, invade our country, live here, take advantage here? Because we have safety nets, we take care of others. What other country are you going to go to that would do that besides a Western country? And then wanting to hate it and change it? No. They have to go. They have to comply and pledge allegiance to and fall under the laws of the Constitution or leave. Now we can work in the framework to change it. I really do believe we need to get rid of the 17th Amendment, change what they've done after the 17th Amendment that created havoc in our economic system, far more than they said they were saving us from, is the Federal Reserve Act. Nothing to do with the federal government. And you can see how they're just hanging on to it. The party that you think wouldn't. Okay. It's all the problem when their person isn't in office, and then when their person is, it's not authentic. People are not being authentic right now when they get online and cry that they don't feel safe. And when the leaders, it's really outrageous when the leaders get on and say, as a black woman, they don't feel safe in white communities. Are you killed? I mean, you might feel like, oh, okay, people are looking at me, looking down their nose at me. So, is that preventing you from doing anything? I mean, that's not right. And I don't see that myself. If you came into a bus or, subway in my community, you might see people moving out of the way if you watched cameras, allowing older people, pregnant people to sit while you stand. That's civility. And that's love for your brothers and your sisters in Christ. And also, just for others in general, because that's what Jesus would want us to do. I'm not the best of Christians, but those things are easy. Public civility is easy. So easy. You don't kill people and then say, I got that white girl, I got that black guy. That's racist. And you're killing somebody over the color of their skin and because they were weaker than you. I feel justified. And able to do it because you have no consequences in America anymore. They're just letting people go. So if it's too expensive to hold people for life or for long periods of time, we need to do something about that and say, we need a death penalty. And maybe a board of grandmothers in their communities that say, can this person live in our community in peace and harmony with others? Because we need that. We have to have that in our communities. And if they say, yes, he can, maybe they need to put him up. Now, if you had to put somebody in your house that's dangerous, maybe the judge should have that. They have to live with those people that they let go. That would be like, it would really put it on their hearts to make a good decision. If it's not safe for me to live with these people, is it safe for others to live, for them to be in the community? So there's a lot of things we need to work through and think about in these times. But that's my line right now, is the Constitution. If you think somebody should be killed over their Second Amendment beliefs, the Constitution, then you're an enemy to the Constitution and to this country and to me. And is that what's happening? Is that what the progressives have become? Enemies of the Constitution and to America? And want to undo and to change to what? Venezuela? No. We're keeping our Constitution. It needs work, and it needs to undo what the corporates have done to it. But if we pay attention and know facts about our Constitution, about the founding, about human nature, about communism, Marxism, what it gets you, it does not get very far because it's based on hate, take, victimhood, and indoctrination. And they must censor to indoctrinate. And people losing their jobs is not violating their right to free speech in any way, shape, or form. Because there's consequences to free speech that your employer has you sign a contract. Society can just say, no, we don't want this. We don't want you here. You should be shunned. And if you're shunned by the majority, I think you have a problem, not the majority. Because that's just how, societies work. There's natural law at play that you cannot go against natural law and survive. It just will not work. So all men becoming women, or it's a trend, everybody's trans. It's not going to work for our society. Meanwhile, in other nations. So, there's a lot of issues that we have to work through. But the energy has been really mild and good for that. Good for us coming to, things coming to a good end. So the 18th was yesterday. So really that should be what we reflect here on this. And if this was filled, it's like I would call it like a post-mortem. Like, was this guidance good for this energy? Or what happened yesterday? Does this line up with what happened? Kind of thing. So let's see. Let's move that out of the way. So yesterday was really an interesting draw. I would like to keep that energy there. So we can see that as to what happened yesterday. So yesterday, we did have and maybe this quiet time allows us for that, for the magic to happen. So we had two magicians showing up. The tarot deck that I use for the main draw, it's called the Dream Keeper's Tarot by Liz Houston, and it calls the magician the creatrix. So it's kind of got a female bend to it, the whole deck. So that that flow, yesterday was rooted in conscious creation. Justice was the outcome. Truth and integrity rising. I do believe that that's happening. Endings. Some people are having to end a lot of BS in their lives that they've put up with for a long time. And they're not going to anymore. It's becoming clear where you stand, what your values are, and that those values are valid and needful in the world. Endings, Ten of Swords, we're still closing out things, while the King of Wands hinted at bold leadership, waiting to emerge. So I was really appreciative of J.D. Vance coming forward and saying that's the line. If you're an enemy of the Constitution of the United States, then why we can't come together, because that is the foundation that we should be coming together on, is that. So with that, the endings, so and then we had the judgment. Okay, now we're getting to today's spread, which is really, really good. Let's just go through the judgment spread here. I don't know if I did the video, because I don't know if it's really the best way to bring forward the day. Let's see if I have it. It's the 19th today. Okay, and I don't know, I might have this filter on this. Probably should just shut it off. Okay, there we go. It's a little bit better. So today's spread, which has nothing to do with the energy, Schumann resonance energy, that this is new. So spread is for 10 a.m. this morning till 10 a.m. the next day. And our first card is Judgment. That's our foundation, our root, how we're feeling at the collective. So there's a awakening, a reckoning to a higher calling. That's interesting. That Judgment. Yesterday, justice was the outcome. So today, Judgment. That's kind of interesting. Yesterday clarified truth. Today calls us to act on it. So what were you feeling yesterday, and are we going to act on what we know is right and our foundational beliefs and how we can come together? We really do need to work out things, though, before we can come together. I think the vice presidents talk on that. And if you didn't watch it because you can't stand watching Nazis and fascists, you're the problem. They are not Nazis and fascists. I really do appreciate the background J.D. Vance came from and him working himself up to the position he's in. He should be very proud of himself. I don't know enough about his mother, who was a drug addict, if she's still alive, but people should be very proud of him for standing in integrity and getting to his position by work. Not by he was born into a wealthy family. He's not a monarch. He's not, these families, political families, who kind of want to see themselves maybe as monarchs without the work. I mean, nobody should just say, oh, I'm one of these kids, so I can do this. No, they have to show. It's another thing I appreciate about Donald Trump's family, his kids. They seem like really good people, and they seem like they really love their father. The grandkids really love their grandfather. You have to appreciate that. And everybody I've heard that says that they go and meet, he pays attention to everybody like they're so important. It seems like, doesn't seem like a Nazi or a fascist to me. But this line has been pushed to, Christians are bad, these people are bad. It's been pushed to where a moderate like Charlie Kirk is so bad he needs to be killed. Really think about that. And go listen to, if you think black people should be afraid of him, if you think trans people should be afraid of him, or gays should be afraid of him, from his hateful speech, please, go listen. Go try to find those hateful words. They don't put them in clips because they don't have clips of that. So please go listen for yourself. Because a lot of people need to be deprogrammed. I don't know how that works. Will watching those videos help? I hope so. I really hope so. Because if you can start seeing lies, then maybe the scales will go away. Anyway, so Judgment, that's a really interesting card. Awakening, reckoning, higher call, and yeah, truth and integrity is rising today. So then the next card we have is in the Empress. That is how we're feeling today, and the vibration today. So it's the Empress, it's nurturing, it's abundance, it's responsibility, and it's creation. So that flows right from the energy, the cards we had yesterday of the Magician, and asking us to create. So yesterday was rooted in conscious creation. The Magician, the twice, both in the number 1 position and one of my clarifying cards, which was really interesting. So yeah, the Empress grows what the Magician began. So now today, it's more like an action. We've got a higher call. We have the energy to bring into fruition that higher call in this open space of creating anew. And we do have the opportunity to create a new starting point, a new foundational point. I'm not saying you have to, I'm not really a Republican, I'm a Libertarian. I'm not saying that you have to become a Republican. A lot of people did that just because we needed a coalition of a bunch of people. We needed some Republicans some Democrats to get on the side, and they did. RFK Jr., Tulsi Gabbard, but you'll see what happens when Democrats leave the party. They are now demonized, thrown under the bus, and slandered horribly. We're dehumanized as a party, and it is wrong to call, because you're creating violence and spreading horrible, horrible lies when you call people Nazis and fascists, when that is not the case. And any leader, Eric Swalwell, who gets up and says somehow Jimmy Kimmel losing his job is some kind of freedom of speech, he should be censured. He should know that the freedom of speech says that the government can't make them. The government cannot tell you what you can and cannot do, what you can and cannot say, or be put into jail. Jimmy Kimmel is not in jail. He can go anywhere he wants around the world. He can create his own media company if he wanted to, and many people do that. Glenn Beck did that. Carl Tuckerson did that. Okay, I get fired. I'm not going to file some lawsuit and says I'm the victim here. I should have a job for life. Come on now. Even though my ratings are down the tubes. So, yeah, let's get that in perspective and stop being petty. A man lost his life for his beliefs, and you're going to say, I lost my job because I lied about said people, said situation. That was like a narrative. And now I'm thinking this narrative is anti-American, it's Marxist, communistic, and it wants to overthrow the United States of America. And this has to stop. Has to stop. So that foundation is, here we are. You don't have to choose my party, whatever, but you have to get on a side that doesn't want to overthrow the United States of America and wants to talk bad about it. Especially from our leaders who are talking bad about the Constitution of the United States and say their country is better, their Muslim country is better. They should go home. And we should not put up and tolerate these opinions. They can have their religion, but they cannot have opinions that are contrary, and they cannot be enemies and sit in a seat and be enemies of the Constitution of the United States of America. We have to clean things up, clean up our hearts, clean up our minds, clean up our bodies, clean up our lives, and on so many levels. And I'm talking to the collective, and I'm part of that. And many people are waking up now to say, yeah, eyes wide open. What do I do? So many people are aware of the problems and feel frustrated and feel like they're just lost now. But just root and ground yourself and yourself first. Your own energy needs to be grounded. You need to know yourself, and that takes a little while working it out, but Be honest with yourself also and what's going on. Don't be partisan in your mind to like try to warp things. Be honest, at least with yourself, about what's going on. And be honest in listening to others, what they think happened. We think one of our rising stars could have been the next president of the United States, was murdered for wanting to debate, which is the foundation of American politics and should be. But we allow for mud throwing and talking bad about each other to such a point, calling each other Hitler and Nazis, to dehumanize a whole swath of people in America is wrong. Especially when we believe in freedom of religion. We believe in the Constitution of the United States of America. And the progressive has a problem with that. Okay? Where are we progressing to? Venezuela? They have nothing to put into place. Do you see what I'm saying? They have nothing. No type of government. It's what? Anarchy, free for all? It's not going to run things. You'll be without a lot of things. You will not have the pampered life. Even though you think it's so bad, you're slaving away at a job to afford, a place to live, internet, phones, whatever you have. You think it's such a horrible way of being, but just think if that wasn't there. Okay, so with that, let's go on. That's not the right draw. So my health is not good. So I don't want to cough, so I have to turn off. I'm going to turn off my sound for a minute, maybe. Even though I have just nodules in my lungs and they're watching them. There's something wrong where I'm not, not releasing this mucus. Okay, I think I'm back. I don't know. So the Empress is a really interesting card in the current vibration. But it does mean responsibility in creation. So we have a responsibility going forward in creating a place that is safe, that is agreeable to all people under the Constitution. There should be no... If you object to the Constitution of the United States and you're an enemy to it. Now the amendments, like the 17th Amendment, it's not to do with any human rights or God-given rights. It's just a way of governance that our four parents put into place to prevent checks and balances from one getting too centralized and high and mighty. So the challenge today is going to be a Page of Swords. So we have to try to overcome this challenge, which is shallow curiosity, gossip, reactive chatter, and immaturity. You can see a lot of immaturity coming out when dangerous immaturity coming out when people cheer on and want more death and destruction in America and more innocent deaths in America. But the problem with killing an innocent, is that their blood cries out to God and has a lot of power. The blood of a martyr, a true martyr is an innocent. Charlie Kirk wasn't a drug user. He wasn't fighting the police. He wasn't a drain on society. He wanted to make other people's lives better. He wanted ideals to be discussed and debated rationally, civilly. And if you watch his videos, you'll see how much he loved others. And he was very much Christ-like. Did I agree with everything he said? Probably. But I'm probably way worse. No, I wouldn't agree with some of the Catholic stuff. I'm not kissing any rings. I don't believe in the Catholic Church. Is the church. No. The church is the collective. It's the people. It's the body. The moving body. We are the collective. So, and we have so many different views, but there's some foundational things that we can agree on. And it used to be we all agreed that the Constitution was the foundation, and that's where we have to be again. So, yeah, there's that. So, we have to not do that today. Try not to. I know it's hard. When these are in force, I think, when this energy is in force, it's easy to have shallow curiosity, and gossip, and reactive chatter, and immaturity. But we have whole groups of people who go to protests and can't tell the interviewer what they're protesting about. There's one about Charlie Kirk that was so good, because they were protesting Charlie Kirk's events before his death. And the interviewer asked somebody, well, what are you here for? What are your beefs? And he's like, I don't know, I'm here to support my community. Read Wikipedia. So, I don't know what Wikipedia says, what lies and things they are promoting, but if they don't have clips of him saying these things in context, there's a problem with your source. You need to check the real. If there's a source, if you can go watch all his debates, watch all the people who repost his debates, discuss his debates, you can go watch the real thing without having an interpretation of why this is bad for the progressives. The Marxists, the people who want you to hate your country, hate yourself, hate your race, and be embarrassed of your race. I'm not at all embarrassed of Western culture that got us here. I know you can say there's bad things in our past. There's bad things in every culture's past. What's better? You tell me what's better. You want to go live in a Muslim country? You can go for it. You will not have the freedoms as a woman or as a Christian that you do in this country or any other Western country. But they're becoming more Muslim-like in the UK and France. And they have a lot bigger fight than we do right now. We have the opportunity to judge ourselves, to create right now a new starting point. Are people going to do it? Or are they going to stay in this shallow place of gossip, reactive chatter, and immaturity? We can make that choice. And then the next card is, I don't know if that's distracting to anybody, but the monthly draw is behind us, so I guess I got to show me. I'm not coughing right now. Okay, so the challenge was the Page of Swords, and the outcome is the Eight of Cups. Now, this reminds me of, those paintings where they have Lady Liberty or one of the people on it during the founding made a painting. I think I'm not sure what goddess it is, but this was an interesting card for the outcome of today. Walking away, maybe walking away. Conscious departure. Choosing truth over illusion. Are we going to do that today? That's the choices we're up against. And I really appreciate the draw helping me clarify what's going on right now in the collective. Because this is a perfect for the outcome for the day, and what we need the outcome to be is for for people to be conscious of what's going on around them. To listen to, if you want to listen to people cry and whine about how unsafe they feel, like Jasmine Crockett, I challenge them to come to any white state, white community, and get on a bus, get on a train, see how they're treated. I, for one, don't think there's a problem. There are some black people in my community, not many. I'd have to go further out a little bit to find them, on a bus or whatever. More Asians, I would say, in my area. I think Islanders, Pacific Islanders, Alaska and stuff are one of the bigger minority groups in Washington State. So, that being said, I think that's a really good cup, and I do think that's the tarot cards are on a flow. And I've just been doing this for a month, so this is a big event in the collective's consciousness going forward. And even if it wasn't for you, if you think, oh, this or that, believe me, it's a big event for the collective. When those 3 cards showed up, the 3 major arcana, I didn't know what it meant. I just said, if something seems like something big, we'll see if something big in the collective happens. And you can go look at my spread. I was a little bit confused when I did that, when I was doing those spreads about the 10th to the 10th, 10 a.m. to the 10 p.m. 10 a.m. to 10 a.m. My spreads go from 10 a.m. So on September 10th, I had my reading posted before 10 a.m. I had drew that maybe like at 4 or 5 a.m. So I'm trying to do it in advance, get it posted before the guidance is applicable. So that it's a real test of the rule of the cards. If there's a flow to them and we can see clarity through them, through the collective eyes, what's happening in our collective. So and we could have different areas of this. So with the walking away, conscious departure, choosing truth over illusion, it could be any person, but that's what what this energy is calling us to do in the collective. It could be of any issue, it could be drugs, but there's a big political thing here right now that is of utmost importance to the collective and how we're going to go forward and what we're going to create for the future. For future generations, what are we going to create? Do we want anarchy, Marxism, and communism that just isn't going to work? I don't want that. I don't want to live like that. I don't want to live like a Muslim. I want to live like an American under the Constitution of the United States of America with said freedoms and rights, inalienable rights. So that's where I am. I know where I stand now, and we all need that clarity. And I realize I've had like a lot of years to understand the Constitution, understand a lot of different things about different religions, and choosing what I want to stand on, what matters to me the most. And God, I'm not going to give up my belief. I'm not going to say my sovereign rights and my relationship with Spirit, that you can override that with having me take a vaccine. I have bodily autonomy. And it's more and more important now when we see the evil in the world, what they will do. And the evil covers itself up with, oh, they can't have, no one can sue them. This stuff is secret. The harm that's done by these vaccines are kept secret. And if you want any money, you got to keep it a secret. But they pay out all the time. But you got to keep it a secret. You cannot tell if you want to accept the money from the damage these vaccines have done. I'll take, like the Second Amendment, I would take the risk. Now, if you don't want to live with me because of that, but it seems like a vaccine should protect you. Oh, but you want to protect my innocent children. You want to come into my life and tell me the measles not going to kill my child. A healthy child will not die. They may die. They may. Very slight chance. But there may be damage. Better chance they're going to be damaged from a vaccine. We have to really think things through. So I would like to live more or less like a natural human the most I can. So with that, 8 of Cups. I like that. Walking away. Conscious departure. Choosing truth over illusion. We're given that choice. That's what Judgment is. Oh, I like the Judgment card. Oh, her interpretation of it is awesome. I'll get to that. I don't want to forget. And hidden card is the Hierophant. This has been so here so much. I did read the definition of hers in this because it's really important. It's tradition, belief systems, collective structure, shaping the field. And it will always be here, shaping the field. She's got 3 heads. She looks to the past. She looks to the future. And she's here grounded. She's not immovable to what needs to change. Not immovable at all. But we're not throwing away the baby with the bathwater. Even though the baby may be a little messy. Constitution's been mucked up a little bit by bankers and corporate interests. 17th Amendment, which allowed for the Federal Reserve Act. And the Wizard of Oz is actually about that act, interestingly enough. Okay. So the Clarifiers were the Lovers card. So we've been getting, that's why I think it's fateful, but not as fateful as the 10th, because we've been getting like 2 in the 4-card spread, and then another 1 or 2 up in the Clarifiers of Major Arcana. So we got another Major Arcana, the Lovers, alignment, choice, integrity, and relationships and decisions. So yeah, there's a lot of that a lot of people don't want to do. They don't want to do the work and dig deep. Was Charlie Kirk what they said he was? There's plenty of clips out there. Please go look and decide for yourself if these are the people you want to think can be killed. It's okay to kill them. In a political assassination on a campus in front of a whole bunch of his followers and his people who wanted to debate him. And to debate somebody, you have to know the facts. You have to know what's going on. Else you lose. But that's the thing about debates. They sharpen each other's intellect in each party. If we don't have these debates, we won't know who's got the better ideas. So, that is an interesting card. And then the 9 of Swords. The 9 of Swords. I do not like the swords. We've been having a lot of those. And 9 and 10 seem to me to be some of the worst. Yesterday it was 10. Okay. Yeah, really bad. Anxiety, sleepless nights, mental stress, shadow of the process. So yeah, there's a lot of people going through it right now on both sides. But I feel hope. And I do believe, like I said earlier, that the blood of the martyr, like Charlie Kirk, an innocent, will have a lot of clout. You know, the Bible says that innocent blood calls out to me. And there's a lot of innocent blood out there calling out to God. And I want things to change. And I do believe, too, that even, that American Indians and the African Americans and slaves had innocent blood spilt. And that has some kind of power to God. But there's also a karmic, backlash of that if you use violence to get your way. Because that, really, I don't know, it's like a touchy subject. But those are whole different subjects than, like today, right now. We're not talking about African Americans' beef. But some of them want to undo the Constitution because of their beef. But I would ask them, what is their solution? What kind of governance do they want? African? Do they want Sharia law? I am not sure what kind of law they are proposing. But if they're proposing the U.S. constitutional law, then some of them are enemies to it in their communities. Lawlessness is, you are an enemy to the Constitution of the United States of America because it's not fit for immoral people, for lawless people. We have to police ourselves. There's no way we can police every community, every person in a community. The community has to police itself and raise up moral people, loving, kind people. So, I think the card spreads are really, really interesting. Yesterday, outcome was judgment, and justice picks up where that left off. Yesterday clarified truth. Today calls us to act on it. The Empress grows what the Magician began. And the King of Wands was hidden yesterday. And today the Hierophant was... Maybe I'll turn this off and let's get to the... just show the cards. Those are the monthly. The monthly is interesting in itself. That we would have the Nine of Swords here. So very interesting on the monthly, but I want to get to the 18th, 19th. Where are you, 18th and 19th? Okay, here's the 19th. Here's today's. And yesterday, here's yesterday's. I don't know if I can make them littler, smaller, and still see them. I have a bird on my roof, my little overhang. Getting fed. To be cleaned off. Okay, so, yeah, maybe I'll turn off the monthly show. Yesterday's and today's. So yesterday was the King of Wands. The hidden was yesterday. And today's the Hierophant. So the shift from visionary personal leadership to collective systematic structures. We'll see more of that. Talk probably about structures rather than persons. And the King of Wands, we said that. Okay, Ten of Swords yesterday was closure. A clarifier. And Eight of Cups today. Yeah, yesterday's outcome was justice. So from justice, yeah, so the Ten of Swords today, oh no, yesterday was the the clarifier yesterday was the 10, and today it's the 9, so, yeah, this is really interesting. So the Eight of Cups, the outcome today, is conscious departure. So yesterday's 10 of, the clarifier was the 10 of swords. Really a horrible card. His hands are up here in swords. So, yeah, so 8 of Cups today is his conscious departure. Yesterday was about creating the truth, creating with truth. Today is about awakening, answering the call, and walking away from what no longer serves us. So really interesting read today, and we have the monthly anchors, a week of stability, Milestones and collective homecoming. There's going to be like some coming home to Jesus moments. They even use that still in business, so just means a hard time grappling with facts and the truth and coming to some, realization that you have to change. So today's Eight of Cups departure is part of the clearing the ground so the Four of Wands foundation can be built. So that's the weekly card. I kind of been ignoring that this week because I didn't change it. So in time, so I really got to put a checklist and make sure I change that. The vibration of the week card, because I did the monthly draw. So this is based on every week. So I do it in advance. I'll have a new one for October. And this is my first month of doing this. I started in August and then kind of work through how would this work. How would I do these draws and, then document successes and document, is this right? Am I good at this? Am I horrible at this? What is up? Yeah, so is the woo real? I think it is, but I just want to double check and see with all these other factors, the planetary factors, the Schumann resonance, these energy factors that we all deal with. So yesterday was about creating with truth. Today is about awakening, answering the call, and walking away from what no longer serves us. Our weekly anchor is the Four of Wands, week 3, a week of stability, milestones, and collective homecoming. Today's Eight of Cups departure is part of clearing the ground so the Four of Wands foundation can be built. Yeah, we are not without hope. We have a great country. It's been beat up. It's been spat upon. It's been kicked. But the Constitution remains, and we can work on getting those things removed that aren't our foundational rights. 17th Amendment is not a foundational right. The 13th Amendment is not a foundational right for everybody. It has to be for everybody. And the 17th Amendment was for bankers and for people who couldn't, for some people in Oregon to appoint senators. If they can't appoint senators, maybe their state is an enemy to the Constitution of the United States. I don't know, some kind of constitutional thing can be assessed to force them into getting their shit together. Not a whole amendment to say we're going to elect senators now. No, that was so wrong. Woodrow Wilson, so wrong. Okay, enough of my angry grandma rants. So, Eight of Pentacles, our monthlies. So let me bring that back up. Okay, so our monthlies were, the Eight of Pentacles was our theme here. She's the first card. Awakening judgment is daily work, not one moment. So that's interesting. Lesson, the Hanged Woman. Perspective, walking away shifts vision. The challenge, the Nine of Swords. Explicit today in Clarifier, anxiety is the shadow of change. So people are changing, but this anxiety card is not necessarily a bad thing. The gift for the month is the Page of Pentacles. Contrast to today's Page of Swords. Curiosity needs grounding. The Page of Swords, we have to worry about a whole bunch of backbiting, gossip, lies. So that was the gift for the month of September, and the outcome is the Queen of Cups. Emotional mastery is where we're headed. That's good. Empress supports this growth. The hidden force, the Seven of Swords, shadows and illusions still lurk. They're going to lurk all this month. Judgment plus Lovers expose truth. So today's clarifiers, the Lovers, and our foundation. So Judgment was our foundation. Lovers, a clarifier, expose the truth. And the anchor was the Nine of Swords, quick moving, the Schumann resonance anchor, the energy anchor. Just a pre-intuition look at what the energy is going to be like. Quick moving truth, energy mirrors Judgment's call. So then we have the energy fields. So the energy fields, so that was our monthly draw. And next month I'm going to put, down here what they are. So we'll know. So you see what we're on this week here, week 3. That is week 3's card. So that was yesterday's. This is today's. And let's go through the planetary effects, which I use Adrienne Elise as my guide, the expert. I'm not the expert. I've been listening to her for quite some time. I really like her. Anyway, Mercury enters Libra September 19th. That's today. This shifts energy into balance, fairness, and dialogue, mirrors Judgment and Lovers. So hopefully this plays out and we get that balance. And these cards are saying that should happen today. Venus enters Virgo on September 20th, coming up. And that will be our new moon. Also, I believe our new moon's tomorrow. I should double check. And I should start monitoring the moon too, because it's very beneficial for natural humans to understand where they are, under what stars, what the moon's doing, all that kind of stuff. So Venus enters Virgo September 20th. The Empress energy comes into service in detail. So that would be Venus energy right there. And that's our vibration, how we're feeling. So, and I do believe we are influenced by the planets and the moon. So, and Venus is very close to us. And we're the Earth is very much influenced by the power of that. So the Sun opposes Neptune September 21st. It's the Equinox, September 21st, coming up. Virgo precision cuts through Neptune fog. Illusions unravel. So we're going through it. The planets are forcing our hands. It's fate. It's fateful. Written in the stars, my friends. September 21st, solar eclipse in Virgo, a rebirth portal. The Eight of Cups is preparing us to leave behind what we cannot carry through the eclipse. We've seen that before in the Pisces. The lunar eclipse. Now we have the solar eclipse. Same energy, same portal. We cannot take it through. It will not fit through the keyhole, through the eye of the needle. But our spirits can. A clean spirit can make it through to the other side, to heaven on earth. We are moving to a new golden age. Don't let the fearmongers tell you any different. We are moving to a new age of, it will be technology. We just entered the age of Aquarius out of Pisces for so long, and the fish and all the things that can happen with this spiritual murkiness. but we're getting clear. And the age of Aquarius is about technology, but it's going to be used in our favor. AI cannot be really effed with so much, because if you're a programmer, you know exceptions don't work. It has to be clean code, like the Constitution, work for everybody, not amendments for special people. No, it has to be broad and not for special people. And the original intent of the balance of powers, like the 17th Amendment, that upset that balance, has to go. That will not make it through. That cannot stand. Nor can the Federal Reserve Act. Our elected officials from the states who should be economicists. They should be of such caliber that they can balance and make rules for money that work for us. Come on now. Okay, so then after that guidance for today, going forward, 10 a.m. today, the 19th to 10 a.m., 9:20. The guidance is, the call is loud and clear. Awaken, nurture what is real, and walk away from illusions. Judgment says we cannot ignore destiny. The Empress says growth is available if we care for it. The Page of Swords warns us not to get stuck in gossip and petty arguments, petty issues, my petty victimhood. We can't get wrapped up in that toxic, petty empathy, petty victimhood, because no blame, shame, or any of that is going to change what is right now and what we have to deal with, what we're working with. That's where we're at. We cannot listen to that and get all wound up in that crap, because everybody will have their own victimhood, their own victim stories. We all do. Yeah, some people have better privilege, but I want everybody to have that same privilege, to have a family that stays together, to have a mom and dad that love each other, to have good food, to have a home. I want that for our families, and our families to all flourish and all grow. And to great things will happen if we can just get that down and not have this churn economy that the 17th Amendment has caused and the Federal Reserve banks have caused, and this debt that just is ridiculous. If we stop the criminals, stop the banks, clawed back all the stuff they've taken, even our senators have taken. They're all takers. They are corrupt. They need to be, everything needs to be transparent. All their stuff needs to be on an open blockchain. All their transactions, all their wealth, and maybe even their families. That's what you're going to give up when you decide to serve us. Serve us. You're going to be an open book, literally. So the guidance and the Eight of Cups confirms the only way forward is to release some of these illusions and this pettiness. So the Hierophant reminds us tradition still is here, it still echoes, but we must decide if it serves or binds us. In which way are we going to go? I believe the Constitution serves us. These victimhood and these additions bind us. So we can't have any more of that. And that's been a tradition maybe for, I don't know how long. You know, the Hate America crowd, the Hate White People crowd, the Hate White Men crowd. That's got to stop. We are people. We are here. And we want the good for this country. And if people agree to that and say that, then yeah, we can come together and work together. But if you're going to come and just say, oh, we got to undo the whole Constitution, there's a problem. Because that ain't happening. Our basic rights are there. Free speech, Second Amendment, those are inherently our rights for everybody. So with that, you know, 17th Amendment was for their convenience, saying we don't want to have to deal with Oregon appointing senators, so we'll just do this, which was better for them. It was better for the bankers to get their way and to get a central bank that our founders were fought tooth and nail. But it was from the very beginning that they knew that this is how banks work. It's how money works. It's corrupt. And it will do all sorts of evil things. Okay, so that reminds us that tradition still is here. Does it bind us or help us? The lovers say choice is unavoidable. There's a choice point right now that is unavoidable. Are you for the Constitution? Are you against it? Are you for America succeeding? Are you against it? Do you want Sharia law? Do you want Native American law? You want any of this? You are against the Constitution, and you are an enemy of the United States citizens who want the Constitution and how this country was founded. There are many judges. There's many lawlessness. There's lawlessness everywhere. And we have to come to terms with that. Sanctuary cities are lawless. They will have natural consequences. It's not God. It's natural law that it's not going to work. Having a bunch of trans people is not going to work. Allowing that and celebrating that, not going to work. Allowing the uplifting of that. We should not uplift that. We should feel sorry for people if they do have dysphoria. And most people should have therapy, intensive, free therapy to deal with what they're going through. But we are making people go through and victimizing people and radicalizing people, grooming people. And young men are the easiest with sex and things like that. It's wrong what has happened to males, specifically white middle-class males who, I don't know, transgenders up like 3,500% or something of that nature. It's not by natural means. So with that, and if it is by natural means, maybe there's some hormone disruption in our food source. We need clean food. Not so much processed food. We need to get plastics out. There are some kind of, you say now there's a new supplement that can help detox from plastics. So everybody should do that. Because all the cancer, colon cancer they've studied, if they looked for it, they find an abundance of microplastics. So could that be part of my problem that happened to me? I don't know, but I'm trying to avoid, I'm using reverse osmosis with the glass carafe, but the thing that really irked me about it is like, I don't want plastics, but you give me a plastic lid. And plastic, like in all our packaging, it goes into our food, so as soon as you can, get it into glass. And even if you use the bulk containers, the glass containers, get some of the caps you can get that have a silicone seal rather than the plastics, because the plastics wear down, degrade, and then end up in your food. So weekly, the Four of Wands promises stability and celebration on the other side of this process. Monthly, the Eight of Pentacles reminds us this is steady work. So the affirmation for the day is, I hear the call of the truth. I release distractions and illusions. Nurture what is real. And walk forward in alignment, even when fear whispers. We need to be aligned with ourselves, with our family, with our community, and we need to walk in unity. And with that, I will see you soon. I try to do a live stream on Rumble around 4:20. I don't know how that's going to work out, as I'm going to have a new fall schedule. So I'll see how that works in with my fall schedule. So I'll see you soon.